Hi, I'm Rebecca, and I'm on staff here at Kenmore Alliance Church. I'm going to share a personal struggle and testimony with you today. Early on in life helped shape me into quite a control freak, and I've spent decades learning the importance of surrender to God's plan, to walk out His will in obedience, and to trust His timing. Now, in the interest of time, I'm going to just give highlights of a really big God story. Chris and I married in 1992. And we were very young, and we wanted to have children, but we weren't in any kind of hurry. I was diagnosed with several different medical issues that made it difficult to conceive. But again, we weren't in a hurry. No big deal. After several more years, however, it became apparent that my body was not going to operate under normal rules of womanhood. God firmly shared with me that He was going to bless us with children. But like Abraham and Sarah, I got impatient, and I really felt it my place to try to help God out. Well, it's no surprise then that like Abraham and Sarah, that didn't go well. Several doctor's visits, lots of years, tests, procedures, money, stress, and strain on our marriage later, we were done. I had it. But God, you promised. Why not now? Why must I endure all this pain? Well, that's when God really opened my eyes to the fact that as smart and perceptive as I like to think that I am, I don't have all the answers, and that I can only see a small part of God's bigger process and plan. He sees what was, what is, and what's to come. And to use a little Avenger reference, God's about the end game, that long run, big picture, things that are for His glory and His purposes. God frequently then and now reminds me of some very tried and true verses. Isaiah 55:9. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts higher than your thoughts. Proverbs 3:5 and 6. Trust in the Lord and lean not on your own understanding, and in all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your path straight. But God, you don't understand. I'm hurting. How can this be a part of your plan? How can my pain be a part of your perfect will? God kept telling me to be patient and that He was in control and not me. Ugh. Okay. Very well. Well, 13 years later, God laid out a host of things that all came together in a way that only He can orchestrate. And a year later, through in vitro fertilization, we found out and were floored we were having twins. It was not all roses and rainbows. It was difficult. It was hard. It was very hard on my body. But in God's perfect time, we welcomed Abigail and Rachel into our family in September of 2006. Now, praise God, right? But wait, there's more. I ended up with a significant case of postpartum depression and female challenges that continued, so the doctors recommended that I not get pregnant again. Well, the challenge was that we were blessed with additional embryos that were frozen that we called snowflakes, and they were waiting for a chance at life. So now what? Well, the short version of what happened over the next several years was that God led us to research embryo adoption and made it very clear that His plan all along was something else for our life and our embryos. We really struggled with the decision, and we questioned God's timing. And I struggled on whether or not I should try again. Well, through a crazy set of circumstances, I needed to have a hysterectomy, which was scheduled in early 2011. Well, I have a funny saying. A funny thing happened on the way to my hysterectomy. I found out 5 days before my procedure that I was pregnant. 2 months pregnant. Naturally. Yeah, we got a really good laugh out of that too. Later, after the shock wore off. So sure enough, Johanna joined our family in 2011. Full term and completely normal pregnancy. So during my pregnancy with Johanna, we were certain of God's call to release our little snowflakes, to bless other families who, like us, had struggled to have children of their own. And again, a very long and awesome story later, we ended up connected to 2 families with an open relationship who have both become great friends. And we were able to pray, cry, celebrate, and encourage them through their journeys that ultimately gave one couple 2 children using our embryos and the other adopting a beautiful baby. Now, in the midst of my pain and heartache, I struggled to make sense of God's purpose and timing. My controlling nature wanted things to happen my way, in my time, and in things that looked right to me. God helped me to look back and realize that it was through my surrender to Him and trust in His ways that were in fact higher than my ways, and the obedience to truly let go, that God was able to work things out for my good and ultimately His glory. Now, my initial struggle in prayer was to have children of our own. God's plan was so much bigger. He not only fixed my physical issues and did provide us children, but He also used that pain and process to understand, empathize, grow, and to in turn help other couples as well. I found that over and over again, when I let go and stopped trying to control my life and the life of those around me, I find incredible peace to submit to the Lord, to trust Him in the details and the timing, that I have peace that I can't explain, instead of the fear and angst that generally grips me, leaving me exhausted and weighed down. So I leave you with a reminder of Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you, to give you a future and a hope. Take heart, my friends, and know that God is in control.